When we start any project, it's very important that we split in pieces everything that we have to do. That's like project management. The podcast or building a podcast is just like exactly that, like a big project where you have to structurize what is that list everything that needs to be done and then split it in like the places. Like for me, it was building the podcast brand, deciding which the audience is, and deciding who the guests are gonna be, the topics we're gonna talk about, finding the studio, and then after finding the studio, finding the camera people. After finding the camera people, then is the sponsors. Because after we have the full idea of everything, then we can start, trying to get the fun part, like who's going to sponsor us and what kind of gifts are we going to give to our guests. And if we're not going to give any gift because that's not necessary, it's just an option. Can someone sponsor that too? More things like that. But I want to share with you, like, what are my questions? So what is the podcast about? The podcast that I'm building is about immigrants in Iceland that have fulfilled a dream. Specifically, that's personal goals or career-aligned goals. And I have, for example, with me, computer people, computer scientists. I have with me actors. I have with me professionals in the bookkeeping industry, models, and all with a foreign background. What we share in common is that we live in Iceland and that it was a success that we have to achieve for our life. Learning the language, for example, one of these goals that we have to achieve, adjusting to the culture, more things like that, and everything related to becoming, belonging, and developing this identity. Another thing that is also very important that this podcast is about the people that is also global, maybe born with Icelandic parents, but at the same time, they have been growing up abroad. And these are the global-minded Icelandics that have been raised abroad and are in very similar circumstances like of us, the immigrants. People that have just moved back to the country of their parents and they maybe don't have friends, do not connect, do not relate. Not even jokes are fun because they don't understand them. So that's what my podcast is about. Who is it for? The podcast is for people that is very similar to me. People that don't fit in a box and don't want to. Will there be interviews? No, it's not an interview. It's a conversation because what we're doing here is building connections. Building connections with the people that are in similar circumstances like me, building their own identity, trying to achieve some goal, getting some to a success, having a journey, having a path. And that's a conversation that we need to have. And we want to share that journey. How long will the episodes be? Around an hour. So maybe 45 minutes. It depends on the guest and depends on the fun. What themes will be explored? Identity, sharing, friendship, building connections, building our network. That's like the basis things that we will be exploring, but at the same time, like who they are, where they come from, why they are here, how they achieve their success, and what is success, and what's the identity they have been living, how is it to live between cultures, very similar topics around this. So being an immigrant or feeling that we don't belong, but we are working on it, and how do we work on it? So many people, I believe, will learn a lot about this and take a lot of stories that they can take into their lives as examples, and maybe don't make the same mistakes these other people already did, or the things that I have done. Why should one listen? I think people, okay, let me reframe. When I came to Iceland, I felt I had everything and I didn't need anybody. I wasn't like needing to belong, and I wasn't feeling like, oh, I need to be part of this society. No, I had my mom with me, my stepfather was with me, my mom was with me, my stepfather lived with me in my own country for 2 years before we decided to move to Iceland. So I wasn't needing anything. But with time, I started feeling loneliness, emptiness. I wasn't having my friends knocking on my door and saying, hey, Natalie, let's go out for play. Let's go to the mall. I had no one to go to the mall to or with. And I felt emptiness, loneliness, but I did not find at that moment content like this podcast, that was the helping hand. Nobody was saying to me, you will go through this, you will experience this, you have this dream, let me help you. It's not going to be achieved like that. You have to do this, and that. So why should you listen? You should listen if you are also experiencing being new in this country, wherever you are in the world. It's a hard thing, and you feel the emptiness, you feel the loneliness, you feel that you don't connect. Here in this podcast, we will explore why isn't that we feel like this? What can we do in these situations? What have other people done in these situations? What is it about identity that we need to explore? Is there racism to blame for everything that we're experiencing? Isn't just like being an immigrant is a bad thing, or whatever, This is what we're going to explore, and this is why you should stay here with me. We're going to explore this together. So I have one thing to say, and I want to forget this, and this is just to end the diary of the day. When people start a podcast, they often imagine the biggest challenges in recording the first episode. In reality, the real challenge is persistence. So this word is not just for you, it's also for me. In every case, for me, it's building a podcast, my challenge. And it's not about building the podcast, that's the most important thing, but it's to be persistent and stay here with you. And that's the reason why I started this diary. I really hope you subscribe if you find me or this video found you, and support me in this journey so I stay persistent. And I will thank you a lot for staying with me and not leaving me alone. I know I'm not alone anymore, and there are so many ways that I can experience that I'm not alone. For all the guests that have said yes to stay with me in the podcast and share their story, I am not alone anymore. And it's a very important thing for me to share this and stay consistent. And for the other people that are having projects, you can do this if you find your community, if you find your people that stay with you and don't leave you alone, and you stay persistent in whatever it is that you are trying to achieve. For me, it's this podcast. So thank you for watching, and see you tomorrow.